standing right in front of him and Jeff. Jeff claimed he wasn't even there when I was speaking to him in his testimony.
My point is, you're wanting him to say that you told the clerk, but all he has to base that off of is that you said you told her.
And he asked her, she said, yeah.
Okay.
He just testified to that.
Right.
Right. Well, they keep claiming I never gave him the records request.
Okay.
Which is nonsense.
All right.
Okay.
You don't have to keep, I get it. You're not
Okay. Okay.
I'm taking in all the tests.
Okay, so what aggression did you see from me outside of when you finally forced me out under duress?
I didn't see any aggression.
So I wasn't being aggressive.
You were.
In what manner? Before you forced me out under duress, was I being calm, peaceful, trying to show you and be...
Let's change the question so it's not confusing. Was he being aggressive inside the lobby?
No, sir.
Was he using profanity inside the lobby?
No, sir.
You can ask some more questions if you want.
I'm thinking.
I believe that's what you're trying to do.
And by aggressive, you mean I was using my speech?
When you were cussing?
Speech, right?
Yeah.
So my speech was aggressive.
Yes, sir.
Did I swing at anybody?
No, sir.
Was I flailing my arms?
No, sir.
Was I screaming?
No, sir.
So you're simply basing your definition of my aggression under my free speech. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Which we don't tolerate, honestly.
Yeah.
Can he answer?
I don't think it's relevant.
What's not relevant?
The whole line of questioning.
Well, they're claiming I was being aggressive, which is a bold-faced lie.
Well, I've heard the testimony.
Okay.
I'll decide whether I think it's aggressive.
Okay.
And no follow-up.
Any next witness?
Pasco would call Ms. Crystal Moore. Ms. Moore, you've previously been sworn, is that correct?
I'm sorry.
Were you sworn earlier
Yes,
this
yes, sir.
morning? State your name.
Crystal Moore.
And what do you do for work, Ms. Moore?
I'm the Director of External Services for the Pasco County Tax Collector's Office.
Okay. For what's external services?
External Services includes our safety agents road tests team. It includes my motor vehicle services, dealer services, cost center.
Are you in that position just over Weston Chapel or over all the offices?
Organization-wide for all 5 locations.
Organization-wide. Where do you sit at?
I am based out of Land O'Lakes.
Fair to say you're the supervisor for the safety agents?
Yes.
And could you just kind of to establish what is the tax collector's office?
Tax Collector's Office is an agent that acts on behalf of numerous departments, including Department of Agriculture, Department of Motor Vehicles, Department of Health. Yeah, just a whirlwind of transactions that we do for customers.
Can you give some examples of what type of services you offer?
We do birth certificates, we do concealed weapons, we do fingerprinting, we do driver's license, motor vehicle titles and registration, taxes, business taxes, tangible tax.
On an average day, about how many customers do you service countywide?
In all 5 offices, probably about 2,000 to 2,500 a day.
And how long have you been with the tax collector?
I've been with them for 13 years.
Over the years, has the tax collector's office found it necessary to adopt a video, photograph, and recording policy?
Yes, sir, we did.
And what's the basis for doing so?
There was a disruption to business. We could no longer serve our customers the way that we've always wanted to and give them that good customer service. So we had to put something in place in order to monitor that.
And what is it about video recording that could be problematic to your business?
We have the Driver Privacy Act where we have to protect customers' social security, address, date of birth, their private information, and we're seeing a lot of that at our counter. So when someone comes in and we're jeopardizing or putting that at risk to become public record, we have to do what we do to protect that. And one of the ways we do that is stopping business.
So the Driver Protection Act that you referenced, is that a federal regulation?
Yes, federal.
And it's a federal regulation that your agency is bound by.
Yes,
Do you, under that regulation, have an affirmative duty to take steps to make sure that that information is protected?
yes, sir.
So is the video recording policy one of the steps that you've taken in order to comply with that law?
Yes, sir.
And can you kind of just summarize what is the video recording policy?
The video recording policy doesn't eliminate the ability to video. It just puts a process in place. You've got to make the appointment. You've got to go through Greg Giordano. We honor those requests, but we just have to have a certain process in place to do that.
And what about outside the facility or the entrance, actually outside the building?
Yeah, outside of the building, then we're not in jeopardy. There's no private information outside the building.
So it's only for those who wish to record inside have to go through that process?
Yes, sir.
And is that policy available anywhere for members of the public to view?
Yes, it's on our website. Yes.
And so our copies already been introduced into evidence. Is the policy also posted at your property?
Yes, it's posted at each entrance.
Specifically with regards to the Wesley Chapel office, is it posted at the entrance there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I put in front of you what's been pre-marked for identification purposes. Is Exhibit F, do you recognize that?
I object to that because I wasn't violating a policy.
That's not a valid.
Okay, go ahead.
You can argue that.
Okay,
But it's not a legal basis to keep the photograph up.
okay.
Do you recognize it?
I do. Yes, sir.
How do you recognize it?
I'm sorry.
How do you recognize it?
It's the video policy right above the pamphlet books that we have posted. Just makes the customer aware of what the policy is.
And is that how it appears at the entrance to your Wesley Chapel location?
Yes,
Is that right in the walkway where members of the public come in?
right.
And is that how it would have appeared on February 2nd, 2024?
Yes, sir.
We seek to introduce as Exhibit F.
Yep. Take it as counts up.
For the record, I'm positive it's got 2 photos in it. Was it admitted? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, it was, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Said that before.
Sorry. In addition to that policy on the billboard there, is there also a notice on the front door as individuals come into your offices?
Yes.
Does
Yes.
the Wesley Chapel office have such a notice on the front door?
Yes.
Notice on the front door. All right, I'm showing you what's been pre-marked for identification purposes is Exhibit G. You can take a look at that packet.
Yes.
Do you recognize that?
I do,
How
yes.
do you recognize it?
It's on the doors of all of our offices.
And is that specifically depict the door of the Wesley Chapel office?
Yes.
And would that have been there on February 2nd,
Yes, sir.
2024? Move into evidence is composite G.
Any objection?
No.
You admitted this county's composite G.
And Ms. Moore, do you have television screens inside we'll talk about the Wesley Chapel office specifically. Do you have television screens
We
in
do,
there?
yes, sir, we do.
What's the purpose of the television screens?
They have various advertisements on them, and it references our NEMO queue system as your ticket's called, but it also has some policy reminders on there. Has about our Driver Privacy Act that we have to honor. And it honors, or it mentions taking a seat for safety purposes.
of their sliders. You were sent here with everything else. Screenshots of their sliders. All right, I placed in front of you what's been marked for identification purposes, this composite H. Do you recognize that?
I do, yes, sir.
Could you go through and testify as to what's on each page of the composite?
Yes, it's posted.
What's actually depicted on those?
What, I'm sorry?
What's actually depicted on those? What are we looking at?
So the customer's personal information, that protection is part of the Driver Privacy Act,
Okay.
that we have to protect that. And then the please have a seat is just for safety purposes.
Okay. So those go up on the television screens for everyone in your office to
They
see?
do, yes, yes.
And would those have been on the screen in the Wesley Chapel office on February 2nd?
Yes, absolutely.
Movement to evidence is composite H.
You have anything? Mr. Felix?
Was she at the location that day?
Is that an objection?
Objection, was she at the location that day?
I don't know that,
She's claiming that was on the screens that day in the office.
you want to lay foundation?
So, okay, you oversee all of the offices,
I
correct?
do, yes, sir.
Those television screens you testified to with the sliders, are those on display in all of your offices every day?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And how long has that practice been going on?
There's, I think right now we have about 4 advertisers, so it kind of flips through from the advertiser to these screens. And then we also have a contract with like Pasco County Animal Services where we have like an animal screen that pops up, but they're all random. Each screen probably holds its screen as far as like a visibility aspect for, I would say, 30 seconds.
The practice you're describing though, showing these sliders on the screen, that practice was in effect in all locations on February
Oh,
2nd,
yes.
2024?
It's been in place for several years.
Moving into evidence.
Objection. How does she know if they were even functioning that day? Was she there?
So to respond, to some extent, I think that goes to weight non-admissibility. She's testified that that's the common practice and she was not there that day. She can testify to that. She was not there that day, but it's the common practice that they're put on. It's also in the ordinance for these trespass appeal hearings that the formal rules of evidence shall not apply. So there's a lot of leeway there. Of course, it has to be relevant, everything that you review, but I think she's laid a sufficient foundation for purposes of this hearing.
I'll admit them, but I'm welcome to your testimony if you or anybody else has anything that contradicts whether they were posted or not.
And I'll just ask and follow up, to your knowledge, were there any IT issues or
Oh,
technical
no, not
issues?
at all, no. I'm part of the IT group when we have our outage tickets, and no, there were no outages that day, not on the TVs.
So what you're saying is you would actually be aware if there was an outage?
I would, yes, sir.
Objection.
What is your?
A TV could crap out that day. She can't know. She can't know unless she has personal first-hand
All
knowledge.
right, yeah, that's your opinion. She's testifying that she's on the IT team, and if something happens, she would get a notification. You can't object to whether you.
Okay, I'm an FBI agent. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll decide whether I want to believe that or not.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay. Do your office have a ticket system for customers that are coming in?
We do, yeah, an email queue ticket system, yes.
How does that work?
If a customer comes in, they get a ticket for service. If they don't get a ticket, honestly, they're going to sit in the lobby for an unknown amount of time, but they get a ticket for service. Then the tickets are called and the order that they came in.
So where do they get the ticket from?
They get it from our gatekeeper, our front desk. There's a sign above it that says, please check in.
Is that right when you come in?
Yes, yes, sir.
Fair to say anybody coming in, and we're talking about Wesley Chapel, of course, is going to see that.
Absolutely.
Objection. How can she testify to what everybody's going to see and where their eyes are looking?
fair objection, but
It could also be blind, it could also be partially
all
blind.
right. It's not the point. I think the point is that it's in a conspicuous place. Am I right?
That's the point. It's in a conspicuous place where it should be able to be seen from anybody coming in.
Right, it hangs from the ceiling right over the desk.
I get your point, that she can't testify that everybody can see it, but
She can't testify that I saw it.
I don't think she did.
Okay.
I would not ask her that. Have you, as part of your job, gone back and actually reviewed video surveillance in this case?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you review the video surveillance of the appellant arriving into your office?
Yes.
And what did he do?
The person arrives in the office, avoids the gatekeeper, does not get a ticket, has a seat in the middle of the lobby about the mid-row back, and probably sits there for 5 or 10 minutes.
When you say person, it appeared to be the appellant in this case?
Yes.
So sat in the lobby without taking a ticket?
Right.
I'd like to play the video for the appellant as well as hearing officer.
Which videos?
It's the surveillance video. she
Objection.
testified to.
I made a public records request for that video and they told me they are not allowed to give it out. So for him to have a copy of it, no way. I wanted to bring in that surveillance footage and they told me I'm not allowed to have it.
That's if he wants it in, so I don't. We can.
So, I don't know that I'm the right person to address your complaint about the public records request. I know that there are certain exemptions to public records. I don't know if one applied to this. If
How did he get them if I can't get them?
he's a county employee,
So, I needed them for my hearing. They cited a law saying that the law says you're not allowed to have the schematics of where the wiring and the cameras are. They misquoted the law. When I told them they misquoted the law, they just completely ignored me.
Yeah, I'll withdraw the request, it's not that important to the
I
testimony.
mean, yeah, do you want to go in the other room and watch it first?
No, if I can't have the videos, they can't have the videos.
Fine, no problem.
I have it, but
If he's allowed to have it, whether he can use it in court or not, I get your point.
But I'm not allowed to have it.
I'm not here to answer the
Okay.
public records request.
Interesting.
all right, I'm not moving into evidence, so I think it's a moot point. What you observed on that video, he sat there for, you said 5 to 10 minutes, never took a ticket.
Yes, sir.
Was there anything else you observed on that video that was indicative of video recording?
You can see that he had the body camera on,
Mm-hmm.
but that's all. From that view, I couldn't tell if it was linking right or not.
All right. Did he eventually get up and?
He did. Eventually, he went up and he went to gatekeeper, and then I could see that he spoke to her.
So, for someone to not check in and just kind of sit there, is that usual behavior in your office?
Absolutely not.
Objection.
No.
What?
What does it matter? It's a public place. I'm allowed to sit in there and take notes.
I don't think he said he couldn't do that. Yes, if it was unusual.
What does it matter if it's usual? What's the relevance?
I don't know. Let's see where they go with it.
For someone who's trying to get quickly in and out, is that something? that we-
Objection.
What?
The term quickly, who brought that up? Who said
He
quickly?
brought it up. I gave you leeway to ask whatever you wanted. I'm
There's
letting
no
him
quickly
ask.
about it. I was there to do free press. I had a clipboard with me. Doesn't matter how quickly or usual it was. It's irrelevant.
It may be relevant. I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't heard it.
Okay.
I'm happy to move on, it's not that important. You said you supervise the safety agents, correct?
I do, yes, sir.
Great. Is one of their responsibilities conducting driver's tests?
Yes, yes, sir.
So on the day of this incident, did your safety agents and your Wesley Chapel office, did they have to suspend doing driver's tests?
They did. We had to stop taking road tests out from 2:52 until 3:50 on that day.
You actually keep a written log of all the road tests?
Objection. They didn't have to do anything.
I'll reword the question.
I'm fine with the way the question was. I understand what their policy, the testimony earlier today was their policy is somebody's recording, they shut down everything.
They've also testified they had zero clue if I was recording or not. The rest, everything after that
That's
should
what
be
we're here
weird.
for today. I'm taking it all in.
All right.
Okay?
Mhm.
But I don't think anything was said wrong right there.
Okay. They said that they had to.
First,
They make their own
their policy,
they make their own
they
decisions.
had to.
Well, it's nothing that I did.
I got it, I got
Nobody said
it.
that.
This is not the time frame to argue.
No, it's not. And no one said that. You're making assumptions.
Okay.
They said that they had to. But if that's
Well, what's the relevance?
their own
How
policy, then that's their own policy. But they shut down.
Okay, so they're not saying it's because of me.
I didn't hear that. I heard
Okay,
they
very
had to.
good, very good, as long as that's not said.
So, you actually keep a written log of all the driver's tests that are administered?
Yes, sir.
And did you review the log from February 2nd, 2024?
I did.
And you've already testified that there was a gap in tests that were administered?
Yes, sir.
How long was that gap?
We didn't take any road tests out from 2:52 p.m. until 3:50. We had a 2:40 appointment that day, a 3:15 appointment that day, and a 3:50. So my 2:40 didn't go out until 4:16. My 3:15 didn't go out until 4:19. And my 3:50 didn't go out until 4:45. So we were well past an hour of the appointment times for the customers that they had made.
Okay. Show her a copy of the log.
What is that?
Their log.
Redacted copy.
What is this again?
It's the log she just testified to of the driver's test that they administered that day.
Thank you.
All right. And some more I've placed in front of you with pre-marked for identification purposes is Exhibit J. Do you recognize that?
Yeah, it's a road test log from the second.
Is that the road test log from the second that you just testified to?
Yes, sir.
Has that version been redacted to protect private and confidential
Absolutely, we
information?
have to, yes.
We would seek to move it in to evidence as I think we're up to J.
I'm sorry?
I don't think we're that for. I think G, maybe?
I have J.
Huh?
I have J, but I will seek to move it into evidence of.
Maybe it's these. Wherever you said. You're right. The photos are about. So, any objection to this?
I don't see the relevance.
I mean, do you have relevance?
Yeah, so what she testified to, how they had to stop for an hour, how it disrupted business, and what she's about to testify to is how she had to authorize overtime based on the late test. So it has to do with his actions disrupting the business.
Objection.
Which is one of the factors outlined in the ordinance.
Objection.
What?
I didn't do anything to stop business, other than stand there and try to make a public records request. That is completely irrelevant. How can I stop a driving test happening outside? It doesn't make any sense. Standing in one spot asking for a public records request peacefully does not stop them from doing any type of business. They tried this in the last hearing too, tried to blame me for their actions.
I understand your argument, but their argument I also understand, which is they believe you to be recording, and if they believe you to be recording, then their policy says they shut everything down. Part of the elements of whether you should be trespassing under the code is whether you provided a disruption of business.
Of course I
They
did.
believe you're recording. Bottom line is, I see the relevance enough to gear it out. Whether you're recording or not, we have to take this particular evidence as if, with the assumption that you were, for consideration of whether this is admissible or not.
Let's say I was recording, how would that stop a driving test?
That's their policy. If somebody's recording, they shut down the work. I don't know. I guess we would
So
have to ask.
what facts do they have that I disrupted a driving test?
Yeah, I mean, he brings up a good point, Mr. Donnelly, that it is the policy that they shut down everything? Or is it that they shut down the counter business?
Do I get,
It's everything.
have the witness testify to that?
Sure.
So, when there's believed to be an instance of video recording inside the office, what actions does your office take and why?
Basically, one of the management team will go out to the lobby and make the announcement that we currently have to stop business. we're doing this to protect the private information. We stop business, we have all the customers step away from the counter, we ask that they put away all the private documents, so nothing's in plain view. And then we just wait it out until sheriff arrives or until we decide that there's no longer that threat and we can begin business again.
And just to follow up on that, the individuals who administer the driver's test, who is that?
My safety agents.
So, are the safety agents required, or is it often necessary for the safety agents to be inside the building?
Yes, because we have customers that we've now made sit down and wait. Now they're getting a little unruly and a little anxious.
So because of that, they're not available to administer driver's
Yes, sir.
tests?
Yes, sir. They've got to maintain the peace.
So that's the relevance.
What was the last part?
They got to maintain the peace because the customers tend to get a little unruly when we've got to stop business.
So true.
So those tests that weren't able to happen during that hour, I think you already testified, did they happen later in the day?
Yes, yes.
Based on that, did you have to authorize overtime to the
I
safety
did.
agent?
Yes, sir.
Did that also have an effect on the business that day? In your position, moving on, in your position with the tax collector's office, have you actually ordered body cameras for your safety agents?
I have, yes.
Or at least started to look into it? How many have you ordered?
Right now, I've only got one. I've ordered the other 4, so all of our office will have one. We started with one to test, just to check the video footage and the audio quality to see if it's where we wanted it, and then I ordered the rest.
So you have one that you've been testing?
I do.
Your safety agents have not actually worn it out in the field yet?
In Gulf Harbors is where we tested it, so that one safety agent there, he has tested it and he has taken it out in the field there.
Okay. And you observed the video footage that Mr. Zamora took that was played earlier, correct?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, and did you compare the body camera, well, it's the same body camera that's here today, right? So did you compare that body camera with the one you've been testing?
Yes, it's very similar.
Does it appear to be a similar model?
Yeah.
Just so I'm clear, we're talking about Mr. Felix's camera? Is similar to the one that they're buying?
Yes. I'm going to show you the side by side. Show you what's been pre-marked for identification purposes only as Exhibit K. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
How do you recognize it?
It's the same camera from the video footage versus the camera that I purchased.
Objection, she has no way of knowing that.
I'm not seeing what the images, what do you mean?
They have a picture of a camera from the internet, and they have a picture of a camera I was wearing that day. That doesn't mean I don't have 5 body cameras.
So I think what she's telling you, what she's testifying to is that the camera you were wearing that day is one of the photos, and the camera she bought is the other one.
She testified that the camera I was wearing that day is sitting right there, and there's no way she would know that.
I don't think that's what she's saying. I think she's, what I heard is.
That's what I heard.
All right, well, I disagree with you, but and you correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Testifying that the photo you're looking at is 2 different cameras on one photo.
Right.
One of them's one you bought, and one of them's from the video of him
Yes,
that day he was in there.
yes.
That's what I thought.
Do they appear to be similar models?
They are very similar, yes, sir.
We would move that into evidence as Exhibit K.
It would be admitted as Exhibit K.
So that body camera of a similar model that you've been testing, you've had opportunity to test it?
Yes,
Have you ever observed a flashing red light on that model?
it does. When you record, it does flash right at the top.
Is that the only time you've seen a flashing red light when you're recording?
Yes.
Okay. What about a red solid light?
Red silent light
Solid.
is when it's about to go dead. We have a green when it's ready to go.
Ready to go immediately, standby?
It's charged.
What was the solid red light? What was the answer?
I'm sorry.
The solid red light. Did you answer that question?
Usually that means it needs to be charged.
And the green means it's charged.
Yes, and ready to go.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
And if you hit record, what does the light do?